it is election day, and and all through social media, it was just constantly people, especially on Instagram, people picture of
I
posting up
voted.
posting up pictures of them like wearing their I voted sticker, and or celebrities saying, oh, go out and vote, and it's really important that you vote, and like it's kind of it's I find it hilarious because they don't prescribe any particular way, because I know like you're not supposed to, especially outside of polling, you're not supposed to wear any, or I think, is it the people that were volunteering at the polls are not allowed to wear any specific party affiliated like affiliation.
It's I think the people that are volunteering at the polling place, they have to be unbiased.
Right,
So
party
yeah,
neutral. You have to be party
and there
neutral.
can't be any and there can't be anybody involved with the camp. I think with like the
Right,
campaigns
right, right.
campaigning outside the polling areas.
Right, but it's hilarious that some of the celebrities that I follow are dyed in the wool liberals, and and today is like the only time that they don't push like their political or ideological view on their followers, and they just simply said, go out and vote. But it's kind of
Yeah.
funny because I on some of the accounts I wanted to be like, well, what if I voted in a manner or in a way that you disapprove of, or you find as evil? Does that make me evil? Does that make me an evil person? And like for you, and like to the point where you wish harm on me? I mean, I didn't actually do it, but I was tempted, like especially on a few where like I know like
There's
I'm sorry.
oh no, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate them like being like for one day, them being more neutral than normal. I do appreciate that, but it's just like
Yeah,
I know what your politics are. So I mean, would you be so enthusiastic for one of your followers who is a conservative or a Republican to go out and vote in a way or for a candidate that you do not support, that you do not, or you, I mean, nowadays, like if you have an R at the end of your name, it's you're basically the devil.
oh, absolutely.
It's like what if one of your conservative or Republican fans or followers voted Republican, voted their conscience and not voted for like maybe your preferred candidate or your preferred party.
Well, the way it works nowadays is like, well, then you're dead to me, kind of.
Right. I mean, I really don't care like what you vote for. I might think that you're wrong and that you're actually doing more damage. Uh, especially like nothing against the call to go vote, but you know, I hope the people are also informed on the things that they're voting for. You
That to
know,
me is more important than just going out to vote. If you're not
right?
informed, just stay
Because
away.
exactly, because then like it's kind of it. If you go to vote without knowing, without even doing a cursory search on the issues, then you're it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. You know, you know,
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that one vote that you're not like particularly read up on, or you know, or have a strong opinion on in the first place, and then you just kind of do like a coin flip. And what if that, like, especially like the propositions and the measures, like what if that measure, like ends up screwing you in the butt, and I mean, not to be too overly dramatic, but what if it was your vote that put it over the top?
It's very true.
So,
Well, what was it? The other thing I heard today that was kind of a little disappointing, because it's someone that I do kind of look up to. Not, I mean, I wouldn't say like look up to, but I respect him at least.
mm-hmm.
And it was a pastor friend of mine who kind of went on this, he was railing against like, because there's been a lot of talk about like we need to have, because there's a lot of election fraud. So people like, oh, we need to have like people having IDs and like having like being able to prove that they are who they say they are, and that they're citizens
Mm-hmm.
of the United States to be able to
Uh-huh.
vote.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he kind of went into this whole thing about it being oh well, this is just institutional racism and all this stuff, and just because I can't like prove this or that, that makes it that means I can't vote or whatever. It's like, and I kind of wanted to respond, but I was just because like everything that he said was just completely incorrect and ill-informed, because it's like, okay, it has nothing to do with it being racism. It's, we have a huge problem of people who are that are either non-citizens who don't have the this the they're not able to vote in our elections. They people who are, that's like asking like, oh well, this person visited from another country for a couple weeks, you want to vote in our election? No, that's stupid. Go to any other country that have some type of election. That's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, they
um
have some semblance of democracy. They laugh you out of the polling place, or they'd escort you out, with armed guard.
right. The other problem too is you get people who are registering illegally, in a sense where they're not a resident of that particular state, or they've registered multiple times, because there's not really to be honest, they don't really check up too much on like where you're, all that stuff. So you could
Right.
register
Yeah.
several times and vote in several different ways, and it kind of goes unchecked, and that we need to. So some people are getting like, this is an American Idol. You don't get two votes. You get one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing I think a vlog from kind of like a political commentator on YouTube, and she was like in Nevada, like Las Vegas specifically. But it was way back early in the year, and they're trying to get people to sign up, register to vote. And she said specifically, it's like, oh, I don't live here in Nevada. And then the person, signing people up, I don't know if it's because like she's bad training or she's just an idiot. But she's like, oh, it's okay, and like she said, oh yeah, but sign up anyways, or register anyways. It's like, but I'm not a resident of Nevada.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar. I mean, it's not as bad as like a non-citizen voting in our elections, but it's like when you're not a resident of that state, you don't have a thumb a thumb hold on what's going on in that state, what the issues are. So,
Right.
and it would be, and if you're only there for a short time, it would be unfair to the residents of Nevada
Yeah,
to be voting.
who have to live with potentially your decision that you're not even going to be uh,
They're
there
around
to
to
live through either.
Yeah, and so for me, it's like, listen, this isn't some conspiracy to like, we don't want the brown or black people or whatever voting in elections. But we have a huge problem with voter fraud, and we have people that are voting in elections that they shouldn't be voting in, and this is some semblance of trying to correct a problem. And I get real tired of hearing all this rhetoric about, oh well, it's just this all this racism, all this, like, no, you're ill informed, you don't know what you're talking about, you haven't looked into like what's actually going on, but you're espousing beliefs that you heard on some Vox article, or something you heard from Trevor Noah one day,
Mm-hmm.
that just is just complete horseshit.
Right. I mean, and yeah, similar. Yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, I mean, and to what is racist about at what is racist about showing ID? I don't understand what that. I don't understand. I don't get the corollary. And also, are you
And
saying that? Yeah, and I mean, that's a rhetorical question. Uh, but like also like that's that's racist of you to think that because you are of a certain ethnic background or heritage that you are somehow meant somehow unable to go and procure yourself some kind of identification. I mean that seems kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Um,
oh crap, I'm I'm trying to blank too on the. I know what word
when
you're
you kind
talking
of
about.
like that, when you're looking down on somebody, it starts with a D, I think. Denigrating.
I
Okay.
think that term works.
Yeah, I think that'll work for now. Yeah, that seems kind of denigrating to someone, and kind of disrespectful to assume that someone is not intelligent enough to suss out how to get a government government ID.
And see, here's the other thing too, and this has also nothing to do with skin color. If you're a complete idiot where you don't, like, you forgot your ID, or don't carry your ID on you, or you just couldn't be bothered to, like, to, whether it be a driver's license or some other form of identification, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get to vote. I don't care what I don't Even if you are a citizen, you're an idiot. I don't And they don't deserve to vote if they can't prove what it is they're if they can't even, like, do that simple task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because if I went to Mexico and I tried to vote in one of their elections, I'm pretty sure they're going to want to see some sort of proof that I'm a Mexican citizen, and even if I were to move to Mexico to live there, like, I wouldn't be able to participate in their process anyways because Mexico has a very strict uh, immigration and naturalization policy. It's like
Exactly.
you have to be like you have to be like basically full blooded Mexican to be a Mexican citizen. And the only time that they give like a special dispensation or whatever is if like you like and this is a quote from their like I think their constitution or whatever. But it's like you bring some significant cultural enrichment.
Yeah, and it's just exactly. But we would never consider them being some sort of horrible racist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they have strict rules about who they allow to be citizens, but we're not supposed, we're not allowed to have any such rules on to determine who becomes a citizen in our country.
Seems, yeah, it seems a little off.
To say the least.
But yeah, I saw that today, and I was just, and I don't know. I feel like, as someone as smart and intelligent as that guy is, and someone that I respect, just to hear just the cacophony of that rant, I was just like, wow, like it kind of surprised me quite a bit about hearing that. It's just like that's not what's going on.
Yeah, right now I'm pretty sure like people are, was it glued to their TVs or whatever to find out like the results of the elections. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Honestly, this is kind of like my Super Bowl. Not really.
Yeah.
Not really, because I'm actually not even that political of a person. I'm just more of a culture guy. And I think,
And they
and
kind of
I
go
think at
hand in
some
hand
time, I think at
sometimes.
some point I have said this, but yeah, I'm more of a culture guy, but politics is bleeding into culture, and so
And now it's like they're making it our problem.
yeah, it's making, yeah, it's it's like that Robot Chicken sketch where they are talking about like the lead up into like World War I or World War II, and it was, they did it like they said it in a school, and then like the Hitler kid, had all these, he annexed all these desks around him, and then
I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, and then like the American kids like, it's not my problem, it's not my problem, it's not my problem, and then all of a sudden like the Japanese kid in the class comes and like knocks like a juice box off his desk, and he's like, now it's my problem.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah,
so I
and
guess like, yeah, so similar to that. I know it's kind of a goofy kind of analogy or metaphor, but yeah, it's like, it's like I just want to be left alone.